Everyone, welcome back to the platform podcast for the Great Plains region, where we highlight and talk about standout performers all across the Great Plains, and then we also go outside the Great Plains to the Rockies and the beaches even, to bring you some standout performers from the last week. I want to start off with the game I went to Friday night, which was Wamego came up to Topeka Hayden, and this was a revenge game for Topeka Hayden. Wamego won last year. Both teams came into the game ranked in the state rankings for Kansas. Hayden came away with a 42-6 victory. Like I said, 42-6. Hayden stacked the box on defense and really stymied the Wamego run game. Kind of stopped all that. Wamego has a really good game, run game with one of their players that I'm going to mention. But they stacked that box really well. So at the game, I was really looking forward to watching a couple players from Hayden, a couple players from Wamego. But when I walked away, I actually found a couple on each team that really caught my eye, really big. So one of the main reasons why I went to Hayden was to watch Cade Mitchell. I talk about Cade almost on all of my podcasts, almost, because he's a standout almost every week. Before the game, I was able to talk to Cade's dad, Matt Mitchell, and he invited me over to the Hayden tailgate, which was phenomenal. Whoever made the 7-layer bean dip, you nailed it. Coach Buckets loved that bean dip. So anyways, the reason why I like Cade was I found Cade at, I believe it was a Becker camp. And he tested out really good there, and I noticed he has really good balance and flow in and out of his cuts. So then I saw him at a couple more camps, and I saw him at 3 or 4 or 5 camps, and every one of them he tested out tops of the whole camp, either somewhere in between the first and fourth best testing out of everyone. So I really wanted to see him in action, playing. And what Hayden does is they line him up in a lot of multiple positions in different offensive sets. They line him up as single back in the backfield, at wing back, on the edge. They even split him out wide. The versatility really makes him an offensive weapon at any college. When I talk to kids and tell them make sure they run the scheme when you go on a trip there before you commit, make sure they run the offensive scheme that really suits you and your skill set. Really, any offensive skill set, Cade will really get in good to. Might add, while I was there, Pittsburgh State was there looking at Cade, so I talked to their scouts about Cade, and I think they're really high on him. So hopefully, Pittsburgh State extends an offer to Cade. In the game, Cade finished with over 50 receiving yards, and he helped them convert a lot of key third downs. He contributed more than 75 yards rushing and scored a touchdown on a rush. He also is Hayden's return specialist, and he continually got good punt returns and set them up in good field positions. So Cade had a wonderful game. And again, thanks to Hayden for bringing me into the tailgate. Really appreciate that. So another guy on Hayden, and one that I hadn't really gotten any information on until this game, was Mason Becker. Now he is a wide receiver also, and he had some good plays on offense. But he made a big play on defense. But he was their kicker. And he is a Cole's Academy kicker. So I love following kickers that are a Cole's Academy. So, but on offense, he was their go-to wide receiver. He hauled in 2 really clutch receptions. One for 7 yards, and I think the other was like 16 yards. Really clutch. So they went to him when they really needed it. But on defense, he had a pick 6 on an interception that he he baited the quarterback perfectly. I mean, just perfect. He laid back as soon as the quarterback went to throw. He read the quarterback's arm going back, and he stepped in and he jumped that route and ran it back for touchdown. Really, really beautiful interception, pick six. But his biggest contributions in the game and for the season, he's a 2027 recruit. Okay, so remember that. So when you're looking for a kicker, he's going to be in the 2027 class. He was perfect on all 6 point-after attempts and recorded touchbacks on 5 of the 6 kickoffs, and the only one that he didn't record a touchback on was a called squib kick. I believe it's to open the game up. I believe that was the only time he did not kick a touchback. So when again, if you're recruiting a kicker for the 2027 class, make sure you get in on Mason Becker. Then we go to the defensive side of the ball, and remember I said they stacked the box with 5 and 6 men to stop Wamego's run. Their main defensive guy was Jackson McGivern. He is also a big-time running back also for them. So in the run game, he's a between the tackles runner because he's a big tough like fullback type running back. So he gets you the tough yards. He also contributed out of the backfield catching the pass. He caught a 30-yard catch and run and a 7-yard touchdown reception. So defensively, he got double-digit tackles, and he's mostly the reason why the Wamego running game really never really never really hit on all cogs. They have a running back, so why don't we just go over to him? He's a future top 2027 running back, Cash 3. Now I hadn't followed him because I hadn't got no information on him. I was really impressed, even though Hayden stymied the run game. Cash really showed me a lot in his speed to the hole and in his power. He's a 6 foot, 180-pound fullback, and he had over 75 hard-earned rushing yards. Really tough. He catches balls out of the backfield too, so he's a bullish running back, but he's agile. He gets that ball on receptions too. Their main receiver is Dominic Falco. Had heard of him. I was really looking forward to watching him. He's a really a precise route runner, reliable hands, impressive run after the catch guy. He ran that squib kick. He ran it back for 30 yards. He's a return specialist. Got a lot of speed. He finished with more than 75 receiving yards. And on defense, he had a lot of tackles, double-digit tackles as well. He also is their kicker, and he recorded a touchback on their lone kickoff. So he's a really good kicker too. So Dominic Falco is an all-position athlete, both sides of the ball and special teams. Dominic Falco, again, he's a 2026, so we'll get in on him quick. I had heard of this guy, and I was looking forward to watching him. I want to say one of the most impressive linebacker outings that I have physically gone to and witnessed in a long time. Mason Ish. He was 2026. No, I believe he's a 2027. Yeah, he's a 2027 junior, and he just made plays all over on defense. Every single tackle. Every single time Hayden would get tackled, you'd hear Mason's name. He was really, really good at shedding blocks. He uses his hands really well to shed blocks. He fills the gap hard, but also he's really, really good in zone coverage on pass plays. He recorded 2 pass breakups just by reading and reacting on that quarterback. So Mason Ish, that's ISCH. Really, really good linebacker for 2027. You're going to want to get in on him quick. So what I'd like to say now is Weston Moody is Wamego's coach, and this is a really young team. A lot of their team are juniors. this was a hard game for them because Hayden is a tremendous team. But Wamego, we will have to watch them for the rest of the year. I think they'll make a pretty good playoff run. But next year they are going to make a run for the state with the talent that Weston Moody has for this team. They'll make a run for that 4A title next year, promise. So that was the game that I went to. So now we want to go to the normal part of the podcast where I mention standouts from all across the Midwest. And again, we'll go to the Rockies. We'll go to the beaches of Florida. But we'll start off with Kansas, where we have this guy's a kind of a repeat offender, kind of. He's a 2026 safety. Ethan Prescott out of Lawrence Free State. He is a Sharp Performance. He trains with Sharp Performance. And he had 10 tackles, 5 solo, 5 assisted, and 1 tackle for loss. Then we had 2026 running back Ben Klaus. He's from Bueller, and he had a school single game record that's been held since 1971. In their 42-20 win over Circle, he had 26 carries for 379 yards and 3 touchdowns. So congratulations, Ben Klaus, on a school record that, again, since 1971, he had 379 yards. So good job. Next we go to 2027 quarterback Dan Sogard out of Blue Valley. I've talked about him before. He's a really talented junior. He went 24 of 35 for 334 yards, and he had 3 touchdown passes. Next we go to one of my favorite receivers. He played for Wichita Wheat. Seen him at the KU Mega Camp. 2027 wide receiver Pierce George out of Mays. They won 42-21 over Derby, and Mays is having an amazing season. They are right now, if I had to choose someone, I would say they were probably the number 1 team in the state for me, for my money. So Pierce was he had 10 receptions for over 100 yards, and he had a touchdown. Next we go to 2026 quarterback Brett Leduc out of Blue Valley West. They won 31-7 over Blue Valley North. Now Brett Leduc is a transfer into Kansas football. He came up from Lake Dallas in Texas, and he took over the Blue Valley West quarterback duties. Really good kid. Met him out at the KU Mega Camp. Really good size on him. I'd have to stop to think. For his size and mechanics and the way he plays, I would have to rate him as one of Coach Bucket's probably easily top 3, maybe even my top 1 college ready right now. He doesn't have the yardage that some of the other guys have, but for his size and college readiness, I think easily top 3, maybe even top 1 of Coach Bucket's 2026 college ready. Again, he's from Lake Dallas, transfer up to Blue Valley West. He was 10 of 16 for 221 yards. He had 3 touchdown passes with 0 interceptions. Then we go to a repeat offender on the show, 2026 quarterback out of Baldwin High School, Bryce Alford. He's another camp standout that he was one that I would go to multiple camps. Bryce was there every single camp. Now the thing I want to tell you about Bryce that coaches need to know is Bryce is an absolute leader. He is an absolute teammate. Like I said, I went to like 4 or 5 or 6 camps. Bryce was at each one of them. But he was not only at each one of them, but he was that guy that was at the front of every line in warm-ups, in drills, in competitions, everything. He was the first one there, first one in line, but he was also, as the last guy would come through, he'd be cheering them on. He cheered everyone on. Bryce is an absolute leader. That's his number 1 quality. If you're looking for a quarterback that will take the reins of a team and put them on his shoulder, Bryce is it. Bryce won with his Baldwin team 35-14 over Wellsville. Now this is the first win for Baldwin over Wellsville since 2013. Bryce was 13 of 19 for 261 yards and 4 touchdown passes. He also carried the ball 7 times and had for 28 yards, and he scored a touchdown on the ground. Then we go to 2026. He's a running back linebacker, Parker Schwartz out of Prairie View High School. He is a Washburn commit. He's also a 2-time All-State running back. He's 6'1", 220 pounds, so good size bruiser. He's a bruiser with some speed. Through 4 games, this is for again Kansas. We just had our 4th week. So Parker's 4 games stats. Now on offense, he's had 75 carries for 821 yards and 13 touchdowns. And on the defense side of the ball, he has 35 tackles, 28 solo, 4 forced fumbles, and 2 interceptions. Then we got 2026 quarterback Jack Revis out of Shawnee Mission East. He was 3 of 5 passing for 1 touchdown pass, but he had 27 carries and 296 yards and 6 touchdowns. So good job. Next we go to 2026 running back, and I hope I say his name right. I saw this guy at Kansas State camp and really was amazed. He's another one that's a lot like Cade. He's really quick. He's water bug quickness, really fast, really good balance in and out of his cuts. When he goes into his cuts, he has a violent hip drop. Really like his fundamentals. And he's out of Wichita Trinity. Again, I hope I get his name right. Is Yamnuel Oyola Bernier. And that last name, let me spell it, Bernier, Bernier. Again, he checks all the boxes. He's quick, got good balance. To me, he's a hidden gem. Wichita Trinity is a kind of a smaller school out of Wichita. They won 36-16 over Smoky Valley. He had 12 carries for 72 yards and 1 touchdown. So now in the season, he's had 48 carries for 301 yards and 5 touchdowns. He has 17 catches for 207 yards and a touchdown. He also has 1 66-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. And on defense, he's had 37 tackles and 5 tackles for losses. Now, when I saw him at the K-State camp, I did notice he showed out really well at both wide receiver and DB. DB is actually where I think, if I remember right, he showed out the most to me, actually. Next, we want to go to 2027 outside linebacker Brenton Findley out of Andover Central versus Valley Center. He had 6 tackles, 3 solo, 2 tackles for loss, and 1 sack. Now, what I want to say about that 1 sack is the quarterback, which was Valley Center's quarterback, Connor Thatcher. Connor's only been sacked 1 time all year, and that would be Brenton that got him. So good job, Brenton. Again, 6 tackles, 3 solo, 2 tackle for loss, and 1 sack. Next, we want to go to Kansas Colts. Running back, he's a 2028. You've heard me talk about him many times. 2028 running back out of Holcomb, Kansas. Kansas Colts, Cooper Cranston in a 34-14 win over Goodland. Cooper had 231 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. So I'm really proud of Cooper. 2026 running back linebacker Chandler Henson out of Parsons. They won 34-14 over Baxter Springs. This is his totals for the 1 game. These are 1 game totals, okay? He had 32 rushes for 416 yards and 4 touchdowns. 2 catches for 46 yards with a touchdown. Those are good stats. But then you go over to the defense side of the ball. He had 11 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 2 quarterback hurries, and 3 pass breakups. That's Chandler Henson out of Parsons. He's a 2026. Then we go to 2027 running back wide receiver Madden Breddington out of Lawrence Free State. He had 11 carries for 162 yards with 4 rushing touchdowns. He also added a receiving touchdown. On defense, he had 9 tackles and 1 pass breakup. Again, that's 2027 running back, wide receiver, corner Madden Brittingham, Lawrence Free State. 2027 wide receiver, running back Cooper Omott out of Great Bend. Great Bend's got a great team, and Omott is one of the best players on that entire team. Again, he's a 2027, and he had an amazing first quarter. Okay, first quarter. This is all in the first quarter. Opening, he took the opening kickoff back for a touchdown. Then he took his first running attempt. He rushed for a touchdown, and then he took a pitch from the quarterback and then threw for a touchdown. And those were all in the first quarter. So Cooper Omott out of Great Bend, he's a 2027, so remember the name and get in on him. 2026 running back Caden Couchman out of Scott City. Caden will be in my article. I'm going to be writing an article about the top 2026 guys that are not committed. I think Caden Couchman is absolutely one of the best running backs in the Great Plains. He is not committed out there at Scott City. It's really, really, really rural, so he's not getting much recognition that he deserves. So I'm going to try to help him out there. Please, coaches, please go look at Caden Couchman. It's Cayden Couchman. I'm hoping that he plays for Kansas Colts this year, this spring, so we can get him a lot more exposure out there. Again, I'll try to get him on in that platform article for, and we'll try to get him some pub. He did just leave on a visit to Southwestern that really went well, according to him. He said that Southwestern visit, he really, really, really liked it out there. So hopefully he can get a commitment out there. So he had 9 carries for 85 yards and a touchdown. He also had 5 catches for 98 yards and a touchdown. Again, 2026 Caden Couchman out of Scott City. Next we go to a guy you hear every week because he is a dual threat quarterback that is a young dual threat quarterback. He's going to be one of the top recruits in Kansas at the quarterback position for 2028. Holden Ferrales out of Sedgwick High School. He is the Kansas Colts, one of the Kansas Colts quarterbacks. He had 166 passing yards, 76-yard touchdown pass, and 31 rushing yards. Again, Holden, he's a 2028. Be watching out for him to make a huge presence on the 2028 quarterbacks in Kansas recruiting list. Next we go to another Kansas Colt. Really, really proud of this guy. He's 2026 running back Zane Farney out of Sterling. He is the 2-time Offensive Player of the Year finalist in Kansas. He has over 7 offers. They won 43-8 over Ellenwood. I might add, before I tell you the big news, he took second in state in the 300-meter hurdles, and he's also a member of the Sterling High School state basketball champions. Now, what I want to say to Zane is congratulations. Zane, this last week, surpassed the 5,000 yards mark rushing for Sterling. So, really proud of Zane Farney, the Kansas Colt out of Sterling High School. Keep it going, Zane. We are all very proud of you. Next, we want to go to younger Kansas Colt quarterback, Cale Claiborne. He's a 2029 quarterback out of Emporia. Now, what I want to say about that is Emporia has not had a real successful 3 or 4 or 5 years. They typically only win 1 or 2 games. What I noticed was a lot of Emporia kids started to play for Kansas Colts, and what we've started to notice is that Emporia is getting extremely good. Just in this season alone, they're already 2-2, which is 2 games more than they won last year. Really, really talented younger class in the 2028 and 2029 class. The 2028 and 2029 class of Emporia is going to have them making deep runs in the playoffs because it's really talented. So this is his first start at Emporia because, again, he's a 2029, and they have a pretty good quarterback there right now that I believe, don't quote me, but I think he is a 2027 maybe. I think he's 2027. But he is a freshman that will be at Kansas. I think Cale will be the number one quarterback in 2029 class. To come 2029, he will be the number one quarterback in the state of Kansas. He had 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown, and 75 yards rushing, again, in his very first varsity start. The 2029 freshman, 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown, and 75 yards rushing. So I expect big things out of Cale Claiborne. Next, we want to go to 2026 running back Carson Mason out of Hoisington High School. It was another camp standout that I found. He's a short bowling ball, really compact, really good balance in and out. Again, he's just fluid with his cuts. Really, really, really talented Carson Mason out of Hoisington. He had 3 catches for 101 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he only played a quarter and a half because they blew the team out that they were playing. But Carson had 3 catches for 101 yards, 3 catches for 101 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Again, in a quarter and a half. So then we go to 2027 running back Jackson Pollard out of Lansing. He just got back yesterday from an Arkansas visit. It's funny because the team that he played, I know their coaches, so I asked them, I said, what is your plan against Jackson? And they said, we're just going to pray. And Jackson is an amazing talent. He had 35 carries for 197 yards and 4 touchdowns. Now, he had 3 2-point conversions in that game, but he also had 7 tackles. Jackson Pollard, a 2027 running back out of Lansing High School. And again, he just got back from an Arkansas visit, so he's a D1 prospect. So get him on your list. Next, we want to go to 2026 Cale Frazier out of Holton. Found him at the Jamboree where it had Holton, Topeka High, and Topeka West, and I believe Highland Park was there also. But Cale Frazier really stood out to me at that Jamboree, and I noticed him. He has offers from Grandview, Washburn, Benedictine, and Drake, and he's 6'1", 215 pounds. He's a really good size for a linebacker. On the season now, he has 32 tackles, 26 solo, 6 assisted, and 3 tackles for losses. And then on offense, he has 246 yards and 1 touchdown. Next, we want to go to 2026 wide receiver. He is another Kansas Colt. He's Ashton Malm. You've heard about him before on the show. Talk about him a lot because he is a multi-week standout. Out of McPherson. McPherson won 46-27 over Winfield. Ashton had 8 catches for 216 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had a 97-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. For the season, he has 575 yards receiving and 9 touchdowns. So then we go to 2026 Baser Linwood wide receiver Nash Morrison in a win over DeSoto 42-38. Baser is now 4-0. One of my favorite teams. They really good team there. Nash Morrison had 8 catches for 154 yards and 4 touchdowns. Then I want to go to Casey Washington. You hear last couple episodes where I talk about their standout players. Really good job of coaching and bringing them to the spotlight for the community, for the school, everything. couple years back, they couldn't even field enough to practice. They just showed up on Friday nights to play. Now he has this team. This coach not only has his team winning, but he has the community believing in them. Just a wonderful job. So I always want to mention their guys. Xavion Haslett, he is a defensive end. He's a 2028. And for the week, he had 8 tackles, 2 solo, 6 assists, and 7 tackles for loss. He had 6 sacks and 4 quarterback hurries. He is a absolute monster over there. Then we go to, and again, these are all KC Washington. Darion Baskin, he's a 2026 wide receiver and corner. He had 5 catches for 104 yards, 3 touchdowns. Then we got Cameron Fields. He is a wide receiver running back, 2027. For receiving, he had 7 catches for 196 yards and 2 touchdowns. Rushing, he had 9 rushes for 77 yards and a touchdown. Then we go to their quarterback, Savion Stone, who I saw at KC Varsity Combines and really was impressed with the guy. Really, the ball explodes out of his hand. He is a high quality, he's going to be a good quarterback. He's a 2026. He was 15 of 25 for 326 yards, 5 touchdowns. And in rushing, he had 15 rushes for 140 yards and 1 touchdown. So that is the Kansas guys. So now we want to move over to the Missouri guys, where I have 2026 wide receiver, kicker, punter, do everything for St. Thomas the Archangel High School. Max Thomas, he's a 5-star kicker. He is the #1 kicker in the state of Missouri. He's a Coles kicking standout, and at the Coles kicking camp, he placed number 9 in the nation out there at Coles camp. He's had visits to K-State, Iowa State, and Central Missouri, so I hope he goes to Iowa State. Would love to see him at Iowa State. He also excels as a punter down in the ball inside the 20. He is a true field flipper as a punter. At kickoff touchbacks on every single kickoff that he has, but he's also a pretty accomplished wide receiver. But again, he's a 2026 kicker. If you are needing a kicker in this recruiting class, he is your guy. Again, I hope he goes to Iowa State. That'd be great. 2026 outside linebacker Caden Flood out of Nixa. Nixa is a national powerhouse that you've heard about on the show many times. For the season, Caden has through 4 weeks, he has 3 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, 12 solo tackles, 13 assisted, 1 forced fumble, and 1 blocked point after touchdown. Then we go to a guy we talked about a lot on here, 2026 wide receiver out of Platte County. He's Epic 7 Midwest. Ty Christopher. Ty only played a half because they really did a number on the team that they played. In 1 half, he had 5 catches, 114 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Then we go to 2026 running back Colt Nolan out of Liberty High School. Saw him at KC Varsity Combine. Again, really compact and tested out really well. Running back Colt Nolan out of Liberty, and Liberty is 5-0 now. He's a 6 foot, 200 pounds. He had 10 rushes for 134 yards and 3 touchdowns. 2027 running back safety Jackson Taylor out of West Plains High School in Missouri. He had 278 total yards. He had 24 rush. He rushed the ball 24 times for 206 yards, and he had 6 receptions for 77 yards and 2 touchdowns. Again, he's a 2027, so keep an eye out for him. 2027 linebacker Colby McGehee, many times on the show because he is my favorite linebacker in the nation. He's out of Neosho High School. He will play for GC7, Game Changer 7, and 7-on-7 season. They played the perennial powerhouse Webb City, and Webb City double-teamed him the entire night. and he still had 19 tackles. He is the most fundamentally sound linebacker in run and pass that I have seen. Again, Colby McGehee, 2027, out of Neosho High School. Now I want to go to a guy, 2027 wide receiver, Trace Collier, out of Raytown. Saw him at KU Mega Camp, and KU Mega Camp that I went to had many major D1 receivers that were also camping. Tracy showed out much better than any of them. To me, he showed out better than anybody else in the wide receivers at that KU camp. He was my number one camper there. In my article I wrote about him. For his last game, he had 7 catches for 237 yards and 3 touchdowns. And so, yeah, really keep an eye on him. Again, he's a 2027 out of Raytown. Then we want to go to 2027 quarterback Garrett Miller out of Rockhurst. Rockhurst is now 5-0. He was 13 of 19 for 225 yards and 3 touchdowns. What I want to say about Rockhurst is they are my number one team in the state of Missouri right now. Really just rolling everybody with the Lewandowski brothers. Plus they got Garrett Miller, and they're stacked. They're 5-0 again. Garrett Miller is a 2027 quarterback, and they're kind of young too. Really, I expect them to make a run for the state title. Again, my number one team in the state of Missouri. Next, we want to go to 2027 quarterback Chase Behringer out of Rockwood Summit. Many times on this show, I've talked about Chase. He is Falcon 7-on-7 quarterback. He trains with QB Era, and I saw him at a tournament and absolutely was impressed with him. He had 16 completions, 187 yards, 1 touchdown, and a 20-14 win, and they are now 5-0. So Chase Behringer, 2027 out of Rockwood Summit. Then we go to a guy that's on almost every episode of the Platform podcast, 2026 quarterback Rocco Marriott. He's out of Platte County. Again, the same as Ty Christopher, he only played 1 half because of his blowout. 1 half, okay, in 1 half, Rocco had 15 of 16 passing, 148 yards, 5 touchdowns in 1 half. Now again, as I mentioned before, he's a James Madison commit. However, he did receive a West Virginia offer earlier this week. So hopefully he'll stick with that James Madison. But if he goes to West Virginia, it's all the same. We're super proud of him. Then we go to 2027 safety by the name of Lake Sutton. He's out of Oak Park High School. He plays for Strongside KC. Which is really one of my favorite 7-on-7 teams out of Kansas City. He had 5 tackles, including the game-saving solo tackle. Now, what I have to say about Lake is he is the most physical DB I've ever seen, ever. He doesn't get intimidated. He will beat the crap out of you coming off the line of scrimmage. And if you say anything to him, he ain't going to back down. He's a 2027, and he will annihilate you if he's playing straight up man, and he's in your, you are not getting off that line of scrimmage without coming away with a bunch of bruises. Without a doubt, he is my favorite safety prospect in the nation. Again, that's 2027 Lake Sutton safety. Then we go to one of my favorite quarterbacks, which is 2026 Gage Burgess. He's a St. Michael the Archangel. He's an Epic 7 Midwest guy. He had 150 yards passing with 1 touchdown pass and 30 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. Now, what I want to say about Gage is one of the things, he represents everything that I like to talk about when people ask, what do you look for? So the first time I saw Gage, he was, I believe he was in the 15U, but when I saw him throwing, warming up, okay. So where I'm going with this is, people ask, what do you look for when you look at players. What I'm looking for is consistency. Now, most players think consistency means you consistently win, you consistently throw a good ball, you consistently break down on your tackles, you consistently do all that stuff. It is, but for me, what I want to see, and we'll just use the quarterback because it's easier to explain. I want to see consistency from the get-go. When a quarterback comes out and he's just throwing the ball, warming up with his buddies, even before warm-ups, just out there throwing the ball. I don't want to see him standing flat-footed and just tossing the ball. I don't want to see him lollygagging and just throwing. I want to see every single time, whether you're messing around with your buddy or warming up on the sideline or warming up before the game, throwing to receivers, I want to see proper ball placement on the body. I want to see proper footwork. I want to see the feet chopping. I want to see the follow through. I want to see the hip and shoulder follow through. I don't want to see a shoulder drop for a deep ball. I want to see hip and shoulder, but I want to see it every single time. I want to see it when he's throwing with his buddies. I want to see it when he's warming up. I want to see every time. The reason why is because that builds muscle memory. So that's what I mean when I say I want to see consistency. But I want to see it out of a running back. I want to see it out of a DB. I want to see it out of everyone. So that's what I'm looking at when I'm looking for talent, really. So consistency is more than just winning. Consistency is more than just having a good game every week. Consistency is how you practice. Okay. So with that being said, let's move on. We'll go to Wyoming, where we have 2026 repeat offender wide receiver Breck Reed out of Sheridan High School. He played 7-on-7 with Gain Sports. Saw him down in Florida at a DR7 tournament for the week. He only played one half, and he had 180 all-purpose yards. He had 2 receptions and 1 touchdown. Again, he's their speed guy, so he's a kickoff return specialist. So Breck Reed, please get in on him right now. Again, Sheridan High School out of Wyoming. Michigan, we have 2026 running back Cedric Williams. He's out of Detroit Catholic Central High School. He was player of the game versus De La Salle. He had 16 carries for 170 yards and 3 touchdowns. Then we had 2027 quarterback Drayson Foster out of Coldwater High School, and he trains with Connor Sampson at Quarterback University. They won versus Palma Western. He was 14 of 20 for 240 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdown. Then we move over to Wisconsin, where we have 2027 quarterback Eli Oji out of Kewaskum High School, and he plays for the Show 7-on-7. And he's also a next level quarterback academy. For the game, he had 338 yards with 2 touchdowns. For the season, Eli Oji has 1,456 yards and 10 touchdowns. Again, he's from Kewaskum High School in Wisconsin. Staying in Wisconsin, we go to Eli Kittleson. He's from Edgerton High School. He's a wide receiver, 2027. And they beat Jefferson 34-21, and the 2027 guy had 3 touchdowns on offense and 2 interceptions on defense. And I'm trying to get him to go play for Primetime Athletics up in Wisconsin for their 7-on-7s. Eli Kittleson, 3 touchdowns on offense, 2 interceptions on defense. Then we'll move over to Illinois, where we have 2028 Braxton Fawcett out of Harlem High School. He was 10 of 17 for 170 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Now he's been shown major interest from Purdue, Western Michigan, Illinois, and they've all sent him game day invites. So Braxton Fawcett, he's a 2028 quarterback out of Harlem High School. Then we're going to go to South Dakota, where I have 2028 quarterback Ty DeGeorgia. He is out of Dakota Valley High School. He's the son of legendary and the late Jared DeGeorgia. And Ty is the #1 quarterback in South Dakota, regardless of class. And he was player of the game, where he was 21 of 28 for passing. On the season, he's 51 of 69, so that's 73 completion percent. He's a 2028 quarterback playing for the Miners, 7-on-7 Midwest Miners. But he's a 2028 playing for the 18U team. So that's him. And then we moved down to Nebraska, where we have 2027 quarterback Josiah Summerfield out of Omaha Burke. He's a 6'2", 200-pound dual threat quarterback. And versus Fremont, he went 21 of 35 for 318 yards with 3 touchdowns. And he had a Benedictine visit, so he'd be a wonderful quarterback for Benedictine. Josiah Summerfield out of Omaha Burke, he's a 2027. So if Benedictine's on him, other schools, you better get in on him quick. Then we go to Minnesota, where we have one of my all-time favorite quarterbacks. He is 2026 quarterback Peyton Myers out of Benilde, St. Marks. He played for Minnesota Go Get It, 7-on-7. Found him there. Really impressed me. Through 5 games this year, Peyton has 44 of 60 for 561 yards and 6 touchdown passes. He is a 6'12 quarterback. A lot of these, every quarterback in Minnesota, if he's an elite quarterback, he goes to 6'12 quarterbacks. So you'll be hearing them a lot in my reports. So Peyton's a 6'12. 2026 quarterback Kyler Tom out of Southwest Minneapolis. He is a 6'12 quarterback. In his game, he has 12 of 17 for 243 yards, 4 touchdown passes, and he also had 80 yards rushing with a rushing touchdown. Then we go to 2026 quarterback Isaac Johnson, and I hope I say his school's name right, Cretan Durham Hall High School. He is the #3 quarterback in the state of Minnesota for the 2026 class. He is a 6'12 quarterback. He plays for Minnesota Grind, 7-on-7. He was 16 of 17 for 351 yards and 6 touchdowns. So again, Isaac Johnson, 2026. He's a 6'12 quarterback. He was 16 of 17, 351 yards and 6 touchdowns. Amazing. Then we go to Iowa for a repeat offender. Wide receiver Carson Gary out of Cedar Falls. He plays for Iowa Savage. They played Dubuque Hempstead. He had 2 catches for 18 yards and 1 touchdown. He also had 2 rushes for 57 yards and a touchdown. So for the season, he has 7 rushes for 187 yards and 2 touchdowns, 17 catches for 180 yards and a touchdown. That's Carson Gary out of 2028 out of Cedar Falls. Next, we go to one of my favorite quarterbacks in the nation. Known him many times, talked about him on the podcast. Found him as a 14U quarterback at a 7-on-7 tournament. He's 2027 quarterback Reese Wheeler out of Iowa City West. In his game, he was 13 of 20 for 240 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and he also added a 35-yard rushing touchdown. So for the season, Reese is 53 of 91 for 1,099 yards, and he has 10 passing touchdowns. He has 126 yards rushing with 3 touchdowns. And again, he's one of my all-time favorite quarterbacks. Reese Wheeler, 2027, out of Iowa City West. Then we go to 2027 wide receiver Chase Newton out of Iowa City High School. He plays for Iowa Rip City. For the game, he had 12 catches, 153 yards, which is 12.8 yards per catch. And he also had over 200 all-purpose yards. So that's Chase Newton out of Iowa City High School. He's a 2027 wide receiver. Then we go down to Texas. I really don't talk about Texas too much because we have a lot of guys down there. A lot of DR Sports and the platform has a lot of guys down in Texas. But this guy, I developed a little bit of a relationship with him. So 2026 quarterback Gavin Beard. He's out of All Saints Episcopal High School. And he is a Georgetown commit. They traveled all the way up to Vancouver, Washington. And Gavin's stat line was 24 of 27 for 341 yards, 3 touchdown passes in the win. So Gavin Beard, he's a 2026 out of All Saints Episcopal School. Then we move over to Arkansas, where we have 2026 running back Nicole Lewis out of Hamburg High School. Now, listen to these stats. In a win over Monticello, Nicole Lewis out of Hamburg 2026 had 32 carries for 357 yards and 6 touchdowns. Again, Nicole Lewis, 32 carries, 357 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Then we got 2028 quarterback Aaron Orgill out of Pulaski Academy. He was 34 of 52 for 382 yards and 6 touchdowns. He also added 21 rushing yards. So Aaron Orgill, 2028 quarterback out of Pulaski Academy. Then we have 2026 running back linebacker Barrett Miller out of Mountain Hope, Arkansas. For the game, he had 25 carries, 183 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He also added 1 reception for 14 yards. And then go over on defense, and he has 6 tackles. Barrett Miller, running back linebacker out of Mountain Hope. He's a 2026. Then we move over to Oklahoma, where we have 2027 Aiden Williams out of Chickasha High School. He had 10 catches for 166 yards and 2 touchdowns. Then we go over to 2026 running back Jason Mull out of Bixby. Now, Bixby is, I think, the number 19 ranked team in the nation, high school team in the nation, Bixby. They had a huge rivalry versus another nationally powerhouse team in Jenks. Bixby won that game. Jason's stat line was 23 carries for 236 yards and 2 touchdowns. Again, he's a 2026 out of Bixby, Jason Mull. 2026 wide receiver, punt return, Isaac Sheffield. He's out of Grove High School. He is a Sooner 7. 7-on-7, that's where I discovered him. Really, really great kid. Saw him again at KU Mega Camp. Wonderful, wonderful young man. He had 4 catches for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. Again, it's Isaac Sheffield out of Grove High School in Oklahoma. Then we go all the way over to Colorado, and I got a bunch of Colorado this time. 2026 linebacker Caden Souders. He's out of Fort Collins High School. He was first team all-conference as a junior last season. In a 28-21 win over Fossil Ridge, Caden had 13 total tackles. He had 8 solo, 1 tackle for loss, and an 83-yard pick 6. That's Caden Souders out of Fort Collins. He's a 2026 linebacker. Then we go to a guy that mentioned on here many times. One of my favorite running backs, 2026 Jaden Fox out of Cherry Creek. He is a Team Full Gorilla. Seen him compete with them. Again, Team Full Gorilla is one of my favorite 7-on-7 teams out of Colorado, along with Ducks 7-on-7. In a 42-0 win, he had 5 carries for 109 yards and a touchdown. Then I want to go to these next 3 are all guys from Ralston Valley. Ralston Valley is famous with me because one of my longest lasting friends and best quarterback finds I ever found played for Team Full Gorilla. He is Logan Madden. Currently, he plays for Washburn here in Topeka, but I saw Logan play for Team Full Gorilla many moons ago. All these guys are from his high school. They won 38-14 over Valor Christian. Valor Christian is a pretty good. Valor Christian is a pretty good team. So they had 3 standouts that made the podcast. He's 2026 linebacker Jake Lester. He's a 6'2", 210-pound linebacker. He had 5 tackles, 2 solo, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 1 forced fumble, and 1 QB hurry. Again, that's Jake Lester. Then we go to 2026 safety wide receiver Nico Benalo. He was the player of the game. He really did a real good job on offense and defense. He had 8 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown. He also had a rushing touchdown. Then on defense, he had 8 tackles, 3 solo, 1 tackle for a loss, 1 sack, and 2 pass breakups. Then we go to their quarterback, which Ralston Valley just rolls out quarterbacks every year. So if you're a starting quarterback for Ralston Valley, you are a dude. He is 2026 Zeke Andrews. He is a 6'6", 210-pound quarterback. That's D1 size right now. Okay. He was 11 of 16 with 215 yards and 2 touchdown passes. Then he also had 121 rushing yards with 2 rushing touchdowns. Then we want to go down to Florida. Again, Florida is where I find a lot of my guys in 7-on-7 tournaments and strike up a good recruiting, scouting relationship with them. So I got a few from Florida again. 2027 quarterback Cole Underwood out of St. Petersburg High School. For his game, he was 20 of 27 for 318 yards. He had 1 touchdown pass and 1 rushing touchdown. Then one of my longest friends and friend of mine for a long time, one of Bucket's favorites. He played for Gain Sports 7-on-7. He gotten a lot of exposure through the platform and DR Sports through these podcasts. He's 2026 quarterback Ben Milliken out of Sarasota Christian. In his game versus Seffner Christian, he was 150 yards and 2 touchdown passes. So for the season, Ben has 103 of 195 yards, 15 touchdown passes, and 1 2-point conversion. So I want to say those again. For 2026, Ben Milliken out of Sarasota Christian. He was 150 yards and 2 touchdown passes this week. For the season, he's 103 of 195 for 1,425 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 1 2-point conversion. Then we go to Casey Barrett. He's a 2027 quarterback. Again, he's 2027 out of Clearwater Central Catholic High School. He's another one of my DR7 finds in Florida. He has that Clearwater Central Catholic, which is out of the, of course, they're out of the St. Pete Clearwater area. They're 6-0. If I had to rate all the area Clearwater St. Pete teams, I would rate Clearwater Central Catholic as number 1, the best team in that area. Again, they're 6-0 and just rolling everybody, thanks to Casey Barrett and his team. For the week, Casey was 265 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he had a 92% completion rate. Then we go to 2026 linebacker tight end Alex Malishko. Malishko plays for St. Petersburg Catholic. For the game, he has 7 tackles, 6 assisted, 1 solo, and he also added a 8-yard touchdown reception from his tight end position. Next, we go to 2026 quarterback Nicholas Cavaza out of River Ridge, and their 30-3 win over one of Coach Bucket's favorite teams and Coach Countryside High School, and their coach AJ Sadinger. They're one of my all-time favorite teams, and he probably is. He's either my favorite high school coach or he's top 2 or 3. AJ Sadinger out at Countryside. Anyways, Nicholas Cavaza with River Ridge, he had 14 of 15 for 225 yards and 2 touchdown passes in the win. Then we go to 2027 quarterback Antonio Balaguer. Balaguer plays for Sumner High School. He's one of Bucket's favorite quarterbacks in the nation. He's also a huge Knowles fan. So that's how we originally connected. Was I saw him had a Florida State hat, and so I watched him. But come to find out, he's to me he's probably the top Tampa area quarterback regardless of class. Michael Pine is really up there too. But he had 161 yards passing with 1 touchdown pass and 17 yards rushing with a rushing TD. So again, that's Antonio Balaguer out of Sumner. He's a 2027. So he's going to be one of Florida's top quarterbacks coming up. So then I wanted to close out with a huge shout out to a 2028 running back out of Florida. He's from the Bowles School, and that's around Jacksonville area. Xander Edwards. Again, he's a 2028. He's 6'2", 220-pound sophomore. Now, he is the son of NFL great Mark Edwards. But here's what's so good about Xander. He broke Derrick Henry's Florida State High School touchdowns and single game record. Derrick Henry's record stood at 6 touchdowns in 1 game. Xander Edwards came in with a stat line of 38 carries, 517 yards, and 8 touchdowns. So again, he's 6'2", 220 sophomore, and he broke Derrick Henry's single game touchdown record. And he added 517 yards. So again, he's out of the Bowles School, which is a Jacksonville, really powerful team around the Jacksonville area. Xander Edwards, 2028 running back. So that's the show for this week, and I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you pass this along. And the more you pass it on, the more coaches get to see it, and the more they'll get to talking about you. So thanks for joining.